Dr. Ilara Miles was a name whispered with awe across the Helios outpost. Her work was the pride of humanity, a testament to the spirit of exploration that had defined generations of humans. Even among brilliant minds, she stood out. She was never content with the obvious answers, never satisfied with the data that simply filled screens without meaning. Humanity was small, she often said, but curiosity could make it infinite. The Helios outpost orbited a dying star on the edge of a galaxy that humans had barely begun to chart. Its inhabitants were a mix of engineers, scientists, and explorers, all driven by a single purpose: to push humanity beyond the cradle of Earth. Ilara had been leading the Helios project for 5 years, focusing on an enormous alien structure that floated silently near the star. It was vast and elegant, shaped like a lattice of impossible geometry. No one knew who had built it or why it existed. Some called it a relic, others whispered that it was a machine, watching, waiting for something or someone. Ilara's fascination with the structure was personal. She had always believed that humans were not merely observers of the universe, but participants, capable of shaping their destiny. When she first set eyes on the alien construct through the observation window of the shuttle, she felt a shiver of recognition, as though it were calling to her. "We are meant to find it," she said softly to herself, "to understand it." Her team on the outpost watched her with a mix of admiration and worry. The alien's design was unlike anything humans had ever seen. No clear doors, no obvious pathways, no indications of life as they knew it. Approaching it required courage, ingenuity, and a willingness to confront the unknown. Ilara had both in abundance. The day of the expedition arrived. The shuttle's engines hummed with power as Ilara and two of her colleagues, Dr. Curran Desai and Lieutenant Mara Chen, prepared for the journey. Every routine had been triple-checked. Safety protocols were strict. Despite all precautions, there was a sense of tension in the air that no checklist could erase. As the shuttle neared the structure, strange patterns rippled across its surface, shifting lights that seemed to pulse in rhythm with some internal logic. Curran studied them on the console. "It's almost alive," he muttered. Ilara's gaze was fixed on the latticework of alien metal. "Not almost," she said. "It is alive, in a way we can't yet understand." They docked with a section of the structure that seemed stable, though its smooth surface offered no handles, no doors, no way in. Ilara stepped out first, her boots barely making a sound against the metallic surface. The structure felt receptive. Every fiber of her body told her that it recognized her presence. The interior, when they found it, was unlike anything they expected. There were no corridors, no ceilings, no walls, only vast spaces that shimmered with a light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. As they moved deeper, the air around them grew warmer, denser, yet breathable. Instruments fluctuated wildly, readings spiking and falling as though the structure were aware of their intrusion. Ilara reached out, touching one of the glowing surfaces. A shock ran through her body, not pain but an intense, overwhelming awareness. Images, sounds, patterns, memories of civilizations long gone flooded her mind. She staggered and Curran grabbed her arm. "Ilara, are you okay?" he asked, panic edging his voice. I don't know," she whispered. "It's showing me everything." The team was mesmerized and terrified at the same time. For hours, they explored the interior, charting the impossible architecture and witnessing phenomena that defied human understanding. But something happened near the core of the structure, a surge of energy that no shield or suit could withstand. Ilara was caught in the center. Light surrounded her, coiling like liquid, wrapping around her body, pulling at her very essence. Curran and Mara screamed, powerless to stop it. Then, in a flash that outshone the dying star outside, she was gone. The shuttle trembled violently as alarms blared. Systems failed and the team could do nothing but retreat, dragging themselves back to the safety of the shuttle. When they returned to the outpost, the news was grim. Alara Miles, the brightest mind humanity had sent into deep space, had perished. The Helios outpost went into mourning. For days, silence hung over the corridors. Messages poured in from Earth, tributes and condolences flooding the communications network. The humans of the outpost struggled to accept it. Alara had always been larger than life, a symbol of human ingenuity and courage. To lose her felt like losing a part of themselves. Then impossibly she returned. It was subtle at first. Medical personnel noticed a faint hum in the sensors, a rhythm in her vital signs that was different. When she opened her eyes, it was as though they glowed from within, soft but impossible to ignore. She sat up, breathing normally, calm, unharmed. I'm back," she said, her voice steady, almost unnervingly so. The room fell silent. No one spoke. It was as if the universe itself had paused to witness the impossible. Questions flooded the minds of those present. How had she survived? Where had she gone? What had she seen? Alara's own recollections were fragmented but vivid. She spoke of vast consciousnesses, of knowledge and memories beyond human reckoning, of civilizations that had risen and fallen in the span of a heartbeat. Her colleagues observed subtle changes. She moved differently, more precise, more deliberate. She spoke with a clarity that bordered on omniscience, her mind connecting patterns and solving problems in ways no human could have done before. Instruments recorded that she no longer required sleep. Even her emotions, while still human, were sharper, more focused. She seemed attuned not just to humans but to the universe itself. Despite the awe, some felt unease. Lieutenant Chen voiced it quietly. "She's not the same, Curran," she said. "She's beyond us." Curran nodded, though he did not fully understand. "Maybe that's what we need," he replied. "Maybe this is how humanity evolves, through one of us reaching farther than we ever thought possible." Alara herself understood the weight of her transformation. She had glimpsed the vast tapestry of existence, and it had changed her forever. Yet, she was determined not to abandon her humanity. Every thought she had, every discovery she made, was anchored in the belief that humans could rise to the challenges of the cosmos, not by discarding what made them human, but by embracing it fully. In the days that followed, she began sharing her insights. She described energy patterns in space that could power ships far beyond current limitations. She predicted gravitational anomalies and navigational hazards that no AI had been able to calculate. And she began to teach, patiently guiding her team through concepts that were once considered impossible. The Helios outpost buzzed with renewed energy. Humans worked with a vigor they had never known, inspired by one of their own who had touched the infinite and returned. They built new instruments, modified ships, and reimagined space travel. Alara's return was more than miraculous. It was a turning point, a signal that humanity's reach into the stars could be far greater than anyone had imagined. Yet, questions remained. Why had the structure chosen her? Could her connection to it grow stronger or even dangerous? Some wondered if one human could ever bear such vast knowledge without losing what made her human. Others, more hopeful, saw it as proof that humans could rise to meet the universe, not merely as observers, but as active participants. Alara herself remained calm amid speculation. "I do not know everything," she said to her team one evening as they gathered in the observation deck, watching the dying star flare in colors beyond the visible spectrum. "But I know this. Humanity has something no machine, no alien, no force in the universe can replicate. We have curiosity, courage, and the will to persevere. That is our power. That is what will carry us forward." And with that, she prepared to return to the alien structure. She was no longer just Dr. Alara Miles, the brilliant scientist. She was a bridge between humanity and the cosmos, carrying within her the potential of both. Every mission she undertook from this point forward would not just be about exploration. It would be about the evolution of humanity itself. As the shuttle engines roared to life once more, Curran and Mara watched in awe. They could feel the change radiating from her, not alien, not mechanical, but deeply human, enhanced and limitless. The universe awaited, full of mysteries and challenges, and humanity through her was ready to meet them. Alara looked out at the vastness of space, feeling it as a living, breathing entity. She felt the pulse of stars, the rhythm of planets, the dance of galaxies. And she knew, without doubt, that this was only the beginning. Humanity's journey into the stars was just starting, and they would not be alone. She had returned from the edge of death, not as a mere survivor, but as proof that humans could rise beyond their limits, and perhaps, in time, touch the infinite. And somewhere deep within the alien structure, a pattern shifted as though acknowledging her presence. Alara did not fear it. She was ready. She was human, and humans never gave up. The weeks following Dr. Alara Miles' return were unlike anything the Helios outpost had ever experienced. The outpost hummed with energy, a rhythm driven not by engines or alarms but by human curiosity unleashed. Every corridor, every laboratory, every observation deck thrummed with purpose. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, their work guided by a mind that seemed to reach beyond ordinary limits. Alara moved among them with calm authority. Though her presence was extraordinary, she never demanded reverence. Instead, she inspired it. She shared her visions of the universe with clarity and patience, explaining complex phenomena in ways that made them accessible without losing the wonder. She described energy flows between stars, patterns in spacetime, and gravitational waves that could be harnessed. Every word, every calculation revealed not only knowledge but possibility. Her team marveled at the changes within her. She no longer required sleep, yet her eyes were never tired. She could calculate trajectories for starships in real time, adjusting for cosmic anomalies that no human instrument could detect. But it wasn't just intelligence. Alara seemed to understand people in a deeper way, their fears, their doubts, their potential. She encouraged them not merely to follow her, but to reach beyond what they thought possible. Dr. Curran Desai watched her quietly one evening as she traced intricate patterns on the holographic display of a star system. "She's not just thinking faster," he whispered to Lieutenant Mara Chen. "She's seeing connections we can't even imagine. It's like she's part of the universe." Mara nodded, unease mixed with admiration in her expression. "I don't know if that's comforting or terrifying," she replied. Alara's abilities soon proved critical. A communication array had detected an anomaly near a nearby system, a burst of radiation moving unpredictably through space. Standard calculations could not predict its path, and ships were at risk if they continued their exploration. Alara stepped forward. She placed her hands on the console, her eyes glowing faintly as she absorbed the data. Within moments, she provided a solution, a precise trajectory that would allow the ships to navigate safely, avoiding the danger entirely. Her team followed her instructions without question. When the ships returned safely, the crew erupted in applause. The achievement was not simply technical. It was proof that humans, with guidance from one extraordinary mind, could overcome challenges that had seemed impossible. But Alara's transformation was not without complications. She sometimes experienced moments of overwhelming connection, flashes of alien memories and visions of distant civilizations. These episodes left her silent and distant, staring at the stars as if listening to their song. Her colleagues could only wait patiently, knowing that she carried knowledge they could not yet understand. One morning, as the twin suns of the dying star glimmered through the observation windows, Alara gathered the team for a briefing. "I have learned something important," she began, her voice steady. "The structure we explored is not merely a relic. It is a repository, a memory of countless civilizations, a record of sentient life across galaxies. It tests those who enter it, offering knowledge to those who can withstand its reach. The team listened in awe. Tests, Mara asked. Why would it test us? Perhaps it seeks those who can rise beyond limitations, Alara replied. Those who can carry knowledge without losing themselves, those who can use understanding to protect and advance life. That is what it offered me, and it is why I returned. Her words sparked a wave of excitement across the outpost. For the first time, humans realized that one of their own had achieved what no machine, no alien, no theoretical model could ever have accomplished. And yet, she emphasized that the gift was not hers alone. Knowledge without action is meaningless, she said. We must apply what we learn. We must create, explore, and protect. That is humanity's true strength. In the following weeks, Alara began an ambitious project. She worked with engineers to design new energy shields for starships, shields that could bend light and absorb cosmic radiation in ways previously thought impossible. She collaborated with astrophysicists to develop navigational methods that utilized gravitational waves as natural highways through space. Every innovation was grounded in practicality, but each carried the spark of imagination that only a human mind could produce. Despite her brilliance, Alara remained deeply human. She laughed with her colleagues, shared meals in the mess hall, and listened to their stories. She celebrated small victories and comforted those who failed, teaching them that failure was a step toward understanding, not a mark of weakness. The outpost began to thrive, its morale soaring as humans realized that their potential had expanded, guided by one who had touched the infinite. Yet curiosity always carries risk. Alara proposed a new mission, a return to the alien structure, deeper than before. Her team hesitated. They feared for her safety, but they also trusted her judgment. If anyone can understand it, Alara can, Curran said. And so, the preparations began. The journey back to the structure was tense but uneventful. As they approached, the alien lattice shimmered with unfamiliar patterns, as if it were aware of their return. Alara's calm presence reassured her team, but the tension was palpable. The shuttle docked, and the team stepped into the interior once more. This time, Alara led them deeper than any human had gone. The structure responded to her presence, the walls and floors rearranging in subtle ways, guiding them along paths that seemed impossible to exist. Here, the air was charged with energy, and strange symbols glowed softly across the surfaces. Alara paused at the center of a vast chamber. "This is the heart," she said. "It is where the repository is most concentrated. I will try to connect again, but this time, I will guide you through what I can safely share." Her hands hovered over the surfaces, and the chamber responded, lights pulsing in rhythm with her movements. Images appeared, shifting and blending into patterns that told stories of civilizations rising and falling, of stars being born and dying, of planets teeming with life, and then silenced by cosmic events. Her team watched in silence, absorbing what they could. For hours, Alara shared knowledge. She taught them how to detect subtle energy flows in space, how to predict stellar events, and how to interpret alien signals. Each lesson revealed that humans were capable of understanding far more than they had believed. Her mind acted as a bridge, translating incomprehensible patterns into knowledge they could apply. As they worked, Alara felt a presence within the structure, an intelligence, vast and patient, observing her progress. It tested her, offering visions that challenged her understanding, but she remained composed. She had been changed once before, and she had learned to integrate knowledge without losing herself. Her team watched in awe as she navigated the alien consciousness, demonstrating a combination of courage, intellect, and humanity that no one could have predicted. When the session ended, Alara stepped back, her breathing steady. "There is much more to learn," she said, "but humanity is ready. We are capable of using knowledge wisely, of exploring, creating, and protecting. We are not limited by fear or doubt. We are capable of greatness." Her words resonated deeply with everyone present. They returned to the shuttle with a renewed sense of purpose. Every member of the team understood that they were part of something far larger than themselves, a moment in history where humanity was beginning to unlock its true potential. Back at the outpost, their work accelerated. New projects emerged, inspired by what they had learned from Alara and the structure. Energy-efficient propulsion systems, advanced communications arrays, and predictive navigation tools all came to life under her guidance. Humans who had once doubted themselves discovered talents they did not know they possessed. Even the youngest researchers began to contribute in meaningful ways, their curiosity nurtured by a leader who had faced death and returned with wisdom beyond imagination. Yet for all her accomplishments, Alara never sought fame or control. She remained a teacher, a guide, and a symbol of what humanity could achieve when it embraced its own strengths. The universe is vast, she reminded her team repeatedly, but humans are not insignificant. Our curiosity, our courage, our willingness to learn and adapt, these are our greatest tools. We must use them not for conquest but for understanding and growth. The outpost thrived, becoming a hub of innovation and discovery. Humanity's reach extended further than ever before, guided by one who had experienced the infinite and returned. And while challenges would continue to arise, the people of Helios understood a profound truth. They were capable of rising to meet the universe, not because they were fearless, but because they were human. Alara often stood alone on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. She could feel the pulse of distant galaxies, the rhythm of planets, the patterns of life and energy stretching across space. It was a connection that few could understand, but it grounded her, reminding her that she was still human and that humanity was capable of greatness. As she watched the dying star flare with colors unseen, she knew that the universe had many secrets yet to reveal. But she also knew that humans, guided by curiosity, intelligence, and courage, would meet those challenges. The alien structure had given her knowledge, but it had also shown her something more important, that humans could rise to the extraordinary, that they could learn, adapt, and thrive in ways no one had imagined. And so, the Helios outpost continued its work, fueled by wonder, guided by knowledge, and inspired by the human spirit. Humanity was no longer merely a species exploring the stars. It was a species beginning to understand its place in the vastness of the cosmos, a species capable of touching infinity, one step at a time, led by a mind that had returned from the edge of everything and brought humanity with it. Alara knew that the journey had only just begun. Challenges awaited, discoveries would test them, and dangers lurked in the darkness of space. But she also knew that humans would prevail, not through luck or accident, but through their relentless drive to understand, adapt, and grow. The universe had been vast and unknowable, but humanity, through courage and ingenuity, was beginning to write its own story among the stars. The Helios outpost had grown into a beacon of human ingenuity. Years had passed since Dr. Alara Miles had returned from the alien structure, her mind forever changed, carrying knowledge far beyond ordinary comprehension. Humanity was no longer content to drift silently through space. With her guidance, humans had begun to chart regions previously thought unreachable, creating starships capable of enduring cosmic phenomena, devising communication networks that span light years, and understanding the universe in ways once unimaginable. Yet with progress came challenge. A neighboring star system, uncharted and volatile, began exhibiting strange behaviors. Its star, a massive orange sun, was collapsing faster than calculations predicted, threatening several planets in orbit that bore the potential for life. Early probes sent by the outpost had been destroyed in bursts of radiation and energy waves that defied all known physics. Humanity faced the first interstellar crisis of its new era. The Council convened in the central chamber of Helios. Scientists, engineers, and strategists debated the best course of action. Every model, every simulation, failed to provide a solution. Panic and doubt began to creep into the minds of even the most brilliant. Alara stood quietly at the edge of the chamber, observing. Her mind raced, absorbing streams of data from instruments, probes, and satellites simultaneously. She felt the pulse of the collapsing star as if it were alive, sensing the rhythm of its destruction and the chaos of the planets caught in its gravity. Her eyes glowed faintly, a visible sign that her connection to cosmic patterns was already at work. "We can save them," she said calmly. Heads turned. Some smiled with hope, others furrowed their brows, skeptical. "But we must act differently. This is not a problem for ordinary calculations. We must think as the universe thinks. We must become part of its rhythm, anticipate its flows, and guide the planet safely through the chaos." Curran Desai stepped forward, awe evident in his voice. "Alara, are you saying we can move planets?" She smiled faintly. "Not move them directly, but influence their paths using energy redirection, gravity manipulation, and coordinated propulsion. It will require every resource we have, and every human aboard our ships must contribute. But it is possible." The outpost mobilized immediately. Starships of all classes were readied. Scientists designed energy fields capable of absorbing and redirecting cosmic forces. Engineers modified propulsion systems to work in harmony with gravitational currents. Every human involved, from the youngest researcher to the most experienced pilot, understood the stakes. This was no longer just exploration. This was survival, and humanity had been given the opportunity to rise to a challenge unlike any before. Alara led the fleet personally. Her presence was magnetic, a source of calm and confidence. As the ships approached the collapsing system, sensors went wild. Radiation spikes, gravitational distortions, and unpredictable energy bursts threatened to tear the fleet apart. Yet Alara moved among the stations, her mind calculating paths, adjusting shields, and guiding pilots with clarity that bordered on precognition. "Attention all ships," she broadcast. "Align with the gravity flow of the star. Timing is critical. Synchronize energy fields on my mark. Trust your calculations and trust your instincts. Humanity depends on them." For hours, the fleet maneuvered through chaos. Every ship followed precise instructions, yet the success depended on adaptability, courage, and instinct, the qualities that made humans extraordinary. Alara's guidance was crucial, but each pilot's judgment, each engineer's quick thinking, each scientist's insight contributed to the delicate balance of survival. The collapsing star flared violently, a surge of energy that could have obliterated planets and ships alike. But the human fleet, moving in perfect coordination, absorbed and redirected the force, guiding planets into safe orbits. Massive bursts of energy cascaded around them, lights shimmering across the fleet, yet no life was lost. When the operation ended, the crew of Helios cheered, tears streaming down faces worn from exhaustion and fear. Entire planets had been saved. Humanity had met a challenge that no algorithm, no AI, and no alien guide could have accomplished alone. It was proof that humans, guided by knowledge, courage, and ingenuity, could achieve what seemed impossible. Alara stood on the command deck, her eyes reflecting the light of the now stable system. She did not speak immediately. She simply observed, letting the moment settle in. Then softly she said, "This is what humanity can do. We are not limited by circumstance, by fear, or by what others say is impossible. When we work together, when we apply knowledge wisely, we can shape the universe itself." Her words resonated across the fleet. Humans aboard every ship felt it in their hearts, the realization that they had achieved something truly extraordinary. It was not the technology alone that had saved the planets, nor her insight alone. It was the combination of human courage, creativity, and determination, magnified by the guidance of one who had seen beyond ordinary limits. As the fleet returned to Helios Outpost, the world waited anxiously. Communications had been limited during the operation. When news of the successful mission reached Earth, celebrations erupted. Humanity had accomplished a feat that would be remembered for generations, not through weapons, conquest, or domination, but through intelligence, cooperation, and the enduring human spirit. Alara did not bask in fame. She returned to her work, continuing to explore the alien structure, developing new technologies, and guiding humanity into the future. Yet she understood something profound. Her abilities were a bridge, not an endpoint. Humanity's potential was not dependent solely on her. The mission had shown that every human, every mind, every act of courage and creativity could contribute to achievements beyond imagination. The outpost thrived in the following months. Humanity's understanding of cosmic forces deepened. Colonies were established on previously uninhabitable planets, shielded from radiation and gravitational anomalies. Starships ventured further, discovering new systems and mapping the galaxy. Every success reinforced the truth Alara had always known. Humans were extraordinary, not because they were invincible, but because they dared to rise to challenges that tested their limits. Alara often walked alone in the observation deck at night. The stars stretched infinitely before her, a tapestry of light and possibility. She could feel the flow of energy across space, the pulse of galaxies, the rhythm of life itself. She had become a part of something larger than any single civilization, yet she remained deeply human. It was her humanity, her empathy, her curiosity, her courage, that allowed her to navigate the vastness of the cosmos without losing herself. She remembered the first time she had touched the alien structure, the surge of knowledge that had almost overwhelmed her. It had been terrifying, but it had also revealed a truth she carried forward. Humans could adapt, evolve, and rise to the extraordinary. That truth had guided every decision, every discovery, and every success since her return. Her team often marveled at her abilities, but she reminded them gently, "It is not about what I can do alone. It is about what humanity can do together. Each of you has contributed to this success. Each act of courage, each insight, each decision, these are what shape our future." The story of the collapsing star became a turning point in human history. It was told not as a tale of one mind against the universe, but as a testament to the collective power of humanity, guided by knowledge, determination, and the unyielding drive to survive and thrive. Alara's name became synonymous with vision and courage, yet she never allowed it to overshadow the truth. Humans had saved themselves through their own brilliance, guided by a mind that had returned from the edge of everything. Months later, the alien structure pulsed softly in orbit around the dying star, almost as if acknowledging humanity's accomplishment. Alara knew that much remained to be learned. The universe was vast, full of mysteries, challenges, and wonders. Yet she felt a quiet certainty. Humans could rise to meet whatever came their way. They had faced chaos, uncertainty, and the unimaginable, and they had prevailed. Alara gazed at the stars, feeling the rhythm of the universe, yet grounded in her humanity. She thought of the young researchers, the engineers, the pilots who had faced impossible odds and succeeded. She thought of the planets saved, the civilizations that might one day arise there, and the endless possibilities before them. Humanity had not only survived, they had demonstrated that they could thrive, expand, and leave their mark on the cosmos. And in that moment, she understood the most important lesson of all. Greatness was not found in a single mind, a single discovery, or a single act. It was found in the collective will of humans to learn, to grow, and to face the unknown with courage. She had returned from death, touched the infinite, and brought humanity with her. But humanity's journey was only beginning. As the outpost prepared for its next missions, Alara stood at the observation deck once more. She felt the pulse of distant galaxies, the rhythm of planets, and the patterns of life stretching across space. The universe awaited, full of challenges and wonders, and humanity, guided by curiosity, courage, and ingenuity, was ready to meet it. She smiled, quietly confident. One human had returned from the edge of everything, changed and enlightened, but the true story was not hers alone. It was the story of humanity, resilient, brilliant, and unstoppable. The stars were theirs to explore, the universe theirs to understand, and the future theirs to shape. And with that, the journey continued.